Hey everybody, Josh Searson of World Alternative Media here, and we have a lot of crazy news to go into today regarding these crazy door-to-door raids that we're seeing not just in the United States, but Canada, Britain, all over the world right now as a response to this COVID-19 insanity. And by the way, if you haven't already, make sure to hit that like button, check the links below, check out our new newsletter at www.iamband.com. We're going to go into all sorts of stuff today regarding this crazy Orwellian news, and I'm glad everyone is joining me. First of all, I do want to apologize for this format of video. I have no choice. My technology is lacking here in Mexico, but nonetheless, as many of you might have seen recently, I was on Press for Truth with Dan Dix, where I talked about the World Health Organization announcing that they have fully endorsed endorsing door-to-door raids into people's homes, utilizing, of course, this COVID-19 pandemic as an excuse. Obviously, a catalyst for a more Orwellian surveillance and the complete seizure of private property, which I talked about in that video quite a lot, regarding the fact that they are basically saying they're going to take over your property. It's communist control over your property at a global scale. And not to mention that Tedros, one of the heads of the World Health Organization, was one of the top members, get this, of the Ethiopian Communist Party. So it's no doubt that that is the agenda they're going after. They're modeling themselves after China quite a lot. And we're going to go more deeply into it right away as we see this news out of Zero Hedge that says Canadian police begin making home visits to check quarantine compliance. Home visits, guys. This is obviously in Canada. There's been a police state there for a long time, but as it says, police in Canada will visit the homes of people under coronavirus quarantine to check they are in compliance with those who flout the law, facing a fine of up to $1 million and 3 years in jail, which is a bit of an escalation from what we were seeing originally in places like Virginia and Maryland and Washington, which is 1 year in prison and $2,500 to $5,000 fines, which is ridiculous to begin with. It's complete slavery, folks. Well, what we see now in Canada is an even greater fine. And obviously the World Health Organization, the UN has a big place in Canada, obviously, and the World Health Organization saying that they want to split up families that might have coronavirus or might have a cold or might have a flu or might have anything, asthma, whatever it might be. Literally go into your home with guns and split up your family. I don't know, where have I heard that before? Let's see, Nazi Germany, the USSR, China under Mao Zedong, and probably still to this day. This one person writes in the chat, the NWO is here. Absolutely. Well, it has been for a while, and it's just, there's more than one though, and I believe one of them being China. We'll get into that in a bit. But moving on to the United States, as it says here, Rhode Island's governor sends the National Guard out in a door-to-door search for New Yorkers because you can't escape. It's a prison. How dare you try to live your own life and be free, your own responsibility after all. Well, it was eventually called off after a lot of people rose up against it. As it says, National Guard suspends door-to-door housing visits in Newport. Now, moving on to the next article here, we see out of the Narragansett Times. Sorry, I'm not good with whatever that means. It says, local police, National Guard begin going door-to-door. And this has been something that people have been seeing all over the world. Again, this being, I believe, where is it? In Narragansett. I don't know what Narragansett is, but nonetheless, freedom is freedom anywhere you go in the world. And when you have these door-to-door raids, it's just a symptom of a much greater problem. And again, following the orders of the World Health Organization, run by one of the top heads of the Ethiopian Communist Party. By the way, the United Nations at the Human Rights Council had Saudi Arabia for years and was trying to get Mugabe as one of the heads of the Human Rights Committee. Zimbabwe's Mugabe, the brutal dictator. Anyway, moving on to the next article here, it says, and this should be interesting to see, Texas National Guard troops could do door-to-door checkups around Dallas. Now, Dallas might not be rural Texas, but nonetheless, I know it's from March 27th. We've already seen a lot of evidence of this kind of stuff through the US, through Canada, through the United Kingdom, where in the UK, they're looking in shopping carts to see if you've got essential items. All across the United States, they're banning the sale of seeds. You know, self-sustainability, the basis of being able to get around this problem. They're stopping people in Canada from going province to province. They can't go to their cabin, which I can't think of more social isolation. You can't go on the beach anywhere, which again, social isolation and distancing. I mean, seriously, guys, if this isn't about stopping the coronavirus, this is about stopping you. It's about enslaving you. And this goes much deeper, but of course we're seeing a lot of issues like this video that came out today out of Philadelphia. A Philadelphia man dragged off bus by cops for not wearing a face mask, and they basically dragged him out by the feet and shoved him up against the bus. And talk about social distancing. You have a bunch of cops all surrounding this guy in his face. One of the cops didn't appear to even have a mask on himself, by the way, which, by the way, the World Health Organization said don't wear originally, same with the CDC, and now suddenly they switched on that, and now they're arresting people for not wearing masks. It's so frustrating. If you're just tuning in, make sure to hit the like button on this video. I really appreciate everyone that helps out in any way you can, and super chats help a lot. Thank you so much to Rainy Steps for sending that $2.79 Canadian. It says hello, Wham. Hello to you as well. Good to see you as always. I really appreciate the super chats. It's the only thing that keeps us alive. Moving on to the next article. This is slightly ironic. It says top Pentagon generals warn enemies not to attack as 150 bases impacted by COVID-19. Oh, well, what do you think of that? Well, meanwhile, at the exact same time this is happening, U.S. confirms deployment of Patriot missiles in Iraq. Do as you say, not as you do, right? Is that how it goes? I mean, you are going to murder millions of people over the last several years. You're going to bomb all these places. You're going to cause order out of chaos, arm cartels in Central America, and then go after them, as we see the deployment about a week ago into, against the Jalisco cartels. And then in the Middle East, arm and fund terrorists for years, bomb their country, kill millions of people, and then say, oh, well, people on our bases now, they have COVID, they can't defend themselves, don't go after them. Please don't do anything to them. But meanwhile, they're literally at the same time deploying missiles in Iraq. And always very ironic, Patriot missiles. Think of the Orwellian doublespeak of this, guys. Patriot missiles. Very patriotic to murder kids, apparently. Con sent Australian $4.49 in the super chat. Says, cheers. Thank you so much, Con. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to us. It really does. And by the way, thank you for joining us. Nick H says hi with a heart. Hi with a heart back to you. Thank you very much. But at the same time, we have a lot of conflicting views on what we're actually seeing coming out of the CDC. We recently heard Bill Gates say that, as a matter of fact, the shutdowns will likely kill far more people economically and as far as starvation goes, all that kind of stuff, than the coronavirus itself. But then he says that the shutdowns need to continue to stop the coronavirus. But if it's about saving lives, then the shutdowns must be killing people then, and you know that, you mentioned that, but he still say it needs to happen. He says, well, we won't see as many deaths as we thought we would. And by the way, we have some people watching here from Sweden. Sweden has been making a very interesting move in this case regarding not shutting down as much. There's like some things in Sweden that are, they're inconvenient, but largely speaking, compared to the rest of the world, there's not many shutdowns. Same within Belarus. And in Mexico, they're just starting to do it. As of today, they finally put up signs saying this is not a vacation, stay in your home, and it is a Jalisco plan for the province in Mexico that I'm currently in. Of course, I'm in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico right now. They're just starting to do that. Well, at the same time, you have these faulty numbers. And we, of course, interviewed, if you haven't seen it already, we interviewed Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai yesterday on Wham. He was the he was inventor of the email, and he has 4 degrees from MIT, and he is absolutely brilliant, and I highly suggest you watch our interview from yesterday that we did live on this subject matter with him. After this, of course. Make sure to hit that like button if you haven't already, guys. But look at how ridiculously wrong all the COVID-19 models were. And as this article goes into, by the way, Lotta Escato from Sweden says life is pretty normal here still for now. Well, good to hear from you. I'm glad that you're safe. As it says here, the dotted line on the chart below indicates the current trends of beds needed for COVID-19 in New York. And you could see this chart here. It's quite telling. At present, only 18,279 are in use. The professional forecasters all projected that beds would be a multiple of the beds actually needed. Notice not one model came in under the actual number. These are all professional fearmongers who alarmed the country about a virus that appears to be in line with a severe flu season. Can they really be that incompetent? Some may be, but I call the evil Tony Fauci out a month ago on his phony projections. Why is Dr. Anthony Fauci, director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, lying to Congress and the American people? And that was his article at the time, and it was a short little piece here. But I mean, the chart says a lot versus what we're seeing right now. It tells us that we are excruciatingly being lied to. And what happens when people recognize this? What happens? Matt Ward mentions Italy cases are surging again. Yeah, absolutely. While everyone's stuck inside and has guns to their heads. And in Spain, too, it's still surging despite what they originally said. They're bouncing back and forth. And, you know, they're saying that the shutdowns work. Well, if it works, then those should be good models, shouldn't it? Meanwhile, Belarus, no problems really. Sweden has extremely low rates. And also, it might be due to them counting their numbers properly, unlike many countries that are exaggerating, while China actually undercuts it while saying there's no one with a virus. It's all manipulation, and they're utilizing the best, most perfect thing for manipulating the public here. And honestly, I think that it is genius what they're doing, but I also think that it's pure evil. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Let's get those likes above 100 here. I want to mention something that is very pertinent to this issue that everyone should know. Everyone should know. And it's something I read in The Last American Vagabond a little while back. And as the article goes into, the leaders of the two controversial pandemic simulations that took place just months before the coronavirus crisis, Event 201 and Crimson Contagion, share a common history. The 2001 biowarfare simulation, Dark Winter. Dark Winter not only predicted the 2001 anthrax attacks, but some of its participants had clear foreknowledge of those attacks. Why is it that whenever we have these exercises, there's people involved in these exercises that end up being some of the top people that we end up listening to when the actual reality strikes, when we actually see these things? The 7/7 bombings in London, we could talk about 9/11, the Boston bombing, the Aurora shooting. We see all of these simulations and exercises, the Las Vegas shooting, that all become realities right after. And, you know, Dark Winter is an example of that. Now we see Event 201. And if you haven't Googled Event 201, you really should. It's very important for people to understand. It just gives you an insight into how evil this all is. It was hosted at the Johns Hopkins Institute and also funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Jeff Lusty writes in the comments here, Oklahoma City bombing and ATF agents had warning. Absolutely, and they were taking file cabinets out right before it happened. And the bomb squad was on scene right before the Oklahoma City bombing happened. Why? And why were there way more bombs than anyone claimed or that the government claimed? Anyway, we could go into that for hours. Honestly, right now I'm risking my channel, I'm risking my career, I'm risking my life, really, by talking about this stuff because channels are being taken down across the board for daring to question this situation, which is by far the most horrible, control freak narrative we've ever seen push forward in the history of our lives and our grandparents' lives. Even in World War II, we didn't see this level of shutting down this kind of economic constraint, which honestly is going to lead to possibly as many as 1 billion people losing their jobs, 1 billion worldwide, and estimated at 60 to 80 million people losing their jobs in the United States. Susan Hope says, don't listen to this BS. So why? Why? Do you have an argument or are you just trolling? Because this is real, this is happening, this is announced by the WHO, the World Health Organization. This is what the National Guard is doing in many places. They're called off in Rhode Island, I'll give them that, but they were looking for New Yorkers in people's homes. The World Health Organization told these governments throughout the world, including the Canadian government, which is now putting 3-year prison sentences on people's heads, if they obstruct the quarantine anyway, they've told these countries that they need to go into people's houses and split up families. And by the way, the head of the World Health Organization, Tedros, was one of the top leaders of the Ethiopian Communist Party. So at what point is this no longer fear-mongering and is it fact? I think it was fact long ago. I've been saying it for a long time. No one listened. It all comes true. It's all vindicated, and I still have people that are trolls that here and there write in the comments, don't listen to this BS. Oh, do you have an argument? Because I want to see an argument before you're, anyway. Danny Smith says, I hope everyone is wearing their face mask that is in here. LOL. Yeah, you might get the internet virus. It's crazy. I honestly, I look at these masks and it just looks like the mark of a slave to me, because at this point, yeah, there's reasonable responsibility. Sorry guys, my internet's cutting in and out. I am in Mexico after all, and I'm doing my best. I'm paying every cent I have left in my bank so that I can continue talking to you guys here on YouTube. Hit that like button if you haven't already, and send in those super chats. It helps a lot. I could go into it later. Anyway, I do want to go into more stuff. It's interesting because today a story that I couldn't help but notice pop up in all the headlines was this: coronavirus is now the leading cause of death in America. Huh. Okay. So, but by what standard? As Dr. Shiva Ayaduri, who we interviewed yesterday, mentioned, like, they're just judging people who have regular coronavirus, which has been around for a long time, as novel coronavirus patients. They're counting people with pneumonia, people who got in car crashes, people who've had heart attacks, and saying they had coronavirus and they died from it, which is untrue. And also, they're withholding ventilators while saying that there's a ventilator crisis and they need more ventilators. Jeff Leslie says death toll is being fixed. Absolutely. I'm not saying that it's not a real thing. Of course it's a real thing. It was bioengineered. It was weaponized. It was spread on purpose. I believe that for sure. But the fact of the matter is, it is not what we are being told. It is not this massive, fearful entity monster that's killing everyone. I had one troll in the comments yesterday of my Shiva video, my Dr. Shiva interview, where he's just like, yeah, you don't even know what you're talking about. I have so many friends that have died from this so far. I'm like, who? Name one. You have multiple friends that have died from this? Like, seriously? I mean, can you at least try to not exaggerate so much when you lie? Man. Anyway, my Ogan says they counted a 15-year-old boy here in California that had complications from vaping. Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think this is by design, and people that say I'm fear-mongering are not watching the news, television, which is a good thing, which is literally fear-mongering. That's fear-mongering. I'm literally telling people that it's not that, and we should be very wary because we have Bill Gates himself saying that it's not a big deal. At this point, he's saying it won't kill that many people as we thought, but we need to vaccinate everyone. We can't let anyone travel until they're vaccinated, and that the shutdowns will kill more people. Well, if the shutdowns will kill more people, then why is he still supporting the shutdowns? What side is he really on here? And that tells you everything you need to know about the agenda here, guys. And it's a really, really evil agenda. And it's affecting, I think, the markets, the economy. That will be the #1 catalyst for, oh man, we're losing internet again here. Am I still on? Okay. The economy is going to be the #1 thing to affect people's lives in the future. We are witnessing the greatest depression globally that we've ever seen before, ever. There's nothing that has ever come close. I have a circle spinning around my screen here on my video, so I don't know if I'm live or not, so let me know if you can hear me and see me. Anyway, what we're witnessing right now is unprecedented, and it's not about fear-mongering. It's a fact that we are witnessing the biggest disruption in the economic system this world has ever seen, ever, ever, ever. And are we going to sit back and let them disrupt it more, which will lead to more childhood poverty, which will lead to more starvation, which will lead to bread lines, which will lead to countless individuals having nowhere to go, nowhere to sleep? We're looking at 1 billion jobs wiped out worldwide. Which is worse, that or a really bad flu season? We are being lied to. We are being duped. And it is going to end up killing a lot more people. So are we going to continue obeying? Are we going to? I see a lot of people waking up. I saw people on Bill Gates' Instagram yesterday calling him out, calling him a Satanist and stuff like that. But then how many, it's great to see that they're awake, but how many are doing anything about it? I have to ask that. How many people are they're sitting in their homes? How many of you are just sitting in your homes and not going outside because the government says you shouldn't? And how many would it take of you to go outside anyway for the government to not be able to enforce their will on you and for them to stand down? We're seeing that right now in Mexico, where I am in Puerto Vallarta. People are still going out. The government's saying go home, stay inside. Everyone's going out. The numbers are extremely low here. Only 4 people in Puerto Vallarta have had it so far. And yet we see people going outside. The businesses are shut down along the Malecon in Puerto Vallarta here, which is ridiculous. But nonetheless, we are seeing people go out anyway. Some of them have masks on. It's kind of stupid. But trying to support businesses, whatever people are still outside, are still trying to support whatever businesses are left up and running. By the way, JC Fell sent $1.99 in the super chat. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Goes a long way here at Wham, those super chats. And hitting that like button helps a lot too. My phone is glitching out so much. My head is bouncing back and forth here. I can't tell if this is working. Let me know if you have any problems or if it's glitching. Robert Neal says, I spent time in Puerto Vallarta in the mid-90s. It was a cool place then, but quieter. Am I back on yet, guys? Here we go. You guys hear me, see me? What's going on? Ah, this is terrible. Yeah, so I'm standing next to a cell phone tower that's 3G on data because the Wi-Fi here doesn't work. So there's nothing I can do about it at all, like nothing at all. It just keeps cutting out. It's super, super frustrating because we see the numbers drop. So hit that like button, send in those super chats. It's literally, I need to buy new equipment. Oh my God, it cut out again. It just keeps showing loading, loading, loading. Oh my God. Let's try out here. Maybe a laptop crashing. I had to leave the country to Mexico to survive. I mean, it's just absolutely horrific what I've been dealing with lately here. So anything helps, guys. Check those links below if you haven't already. We've now lost 200 viewers off the stream because they just shut my stream down again. And I can't tell you how frustrating this truly is. It's absolutely horrible. I see the chat now on my computer. It's not on my screen, so I'll look at that. I don't know how much you guys caught of what I was saying there, but essentially I'm next to a 3G tower. That 3G tower isn't enough to keep my data going, and the Wi-Fi in this apartment building is absolutely horrible. I'm moving in 5 days to a new place that has better internet, but nonetheless, the only way I can bring you information is by I spent $40 in data on this stream so I could do this live stream. I've gotten back $9 so far in the super chats, and I really appreciate that. But guys, please consider checking the links below. GoFundMe, Patreon, Subscribe Star. It's the only way I can continue bringing you guys information. It's absolutely horrible the way they've been. I've been able to handle this. It's just like, it's ridiculous. Crypto Crackhead sent £5 in the super chat. Thank you so much, Crypto Crackhead. I love the name. I really, really, truly appreciate those super chats a lot, guys. I really do. Zach Turok, PhD, sent $19.99 and says, Josh, we appreciate you. Wish it could be more. Well, thank you so much. And it's good to see PhDs on here, you know, involved in this truth and freedom community. I thank you so much for that pledge and that donation. It means a lot to me. We are dealing with something very unprecedented here. This is the greatest global depression we've ever seen in the history of the world. About 1 billion jobs wiped out worldwide. If you couldn't hear me before, I couldn't tell what got through to you guys because it just kept loading and shutting down on my screen. And so they've forced me to spend $40 on data so far, the stupid stream. I got an unlimited plan for Mexico with Bell. Don't get Bell, guys. Seriously, the worst idea ever. Strictly for Mexico. Unlimited roam like home. And then suddenly they just told me, oh, actually, you don't have that anymore, and we're charging you $500 extra this month. And also you have to spend about $40 every 20 minutes or 25 minutes on your stream in order to do live streaming. And it's like, this is ridiculous. Briggs sent $2 in the super chat. Thank you so much, Briggs. I really appreciate that. They're doing whatever they can to stop me from being able to bring you guys information that you all deserve, you all should have at your fingertips, because they want to crush independent media. They want to make it impossible for us to reach new people. They want they want to make it impossible for us to tell the truth, for us to be self-sustainable, keep ourselves safe, prepare, all those kinds of things. All that is off the table if we continue to fall into this trap of mainstream media propagandizing, government, police state, communist control over the nation, over the world. The World Health Organization, again, as the title mentions, telling countries to go into homes and separate families. And all the while, we have forced vaccinations coming, technocratic, cashless society. They're forcing people into their homes. They're saying they're going to pay the rent, which is basically communism. It sounds good, but it's not. They'll take over your property. Now they have ownership over your property. Then you're all working on a farm for them while the military is in the streets. It's all over something that they engineered and created in the first place. And they are openly admitting themselves is actually less dangerous than the shutdowns, but they continue the shutdowns. This is what we're up against, folks. And all the while, I'm trying to spread that message as I have for so many years, and they just keep shutting it down. They shut down my stream. They make it impossible. They went against my whole contract with Bell so that I can't even get internet out here. So I end up spending $40 on one stream just to get video up here. It's about to expire any moment now again, and they're going to try and make me spend another $12 or so to keep this stream up, and it's going to cut out. And it's just really excruciatingly frustrating. So make sure to check out GoFundMe, Patreon, Subscribestar. Anything helps to keep us alive. Go to flote.app, flote.app, and check the links below for www.iamband.com, which is our new newsletter, which I really encourage everyone to check out. Anyway. Briggs says Bitcoin fixes gooberments. Yeah, to a great deal regarding certain issues like the monetary system and getting around the tax racket of the organized crime cartel that we're dealing with here. Leslie Livingood sent $19.99. It says, I'd like to hear more about why you wound up in Mexico. I missed it. Thank you so much for that super chat. It seriously means a lot. Seriously. Thank you so much. Can't tell you how much I need that right now. I moved here, well, it wasn't because I wanted to, it was because I needed to. For my own safety, for my own freedom, freedom comes down to responsibility. It doesn't have national barriers. It's individualistic. It's based on you protecting yourself, not expecting the government to protect you from other entities. So I left Canada for the US years ago because I didn't like where Canada was going, and I wanted to protect my freedoms. The way they're trying to steal more than 65% of people's money via not just income taxes, but sales taxes, business taxes, property taxes, all that kind of stuff. And on top of that, trying to restrict you from breathing air. The carbon tax is absolutely insane. So I left for Las Vegas. It was better, more free speech, guns, all that kind of stuff. And then I saw all this coming up. They were telling people to stay in their homes. They're talking about deploying the military. They're talking about shutting down all the businesses. And people are they're not independent enough, generally speaking, in the United States to handle a crisis like that. So I knew that it was going to end badly, so I left for Mexico. And I'm so glad I did. It was the best decision I ever made. It's super cheap to live down here. I couldn't afford to live in my home in the United States anyway. I was literally taking out loans to keep it up because I don't do this for money. I do this because I love what I do, and I think it's important, and I'm trying to do a service to people by bringing them information. But it's not something that pays the bills. Literally, these super chats and GoFundMe donations, that kind of stuff is the only thing keeping me alive. They completely demonetize this channel for the most part, except for some ads here and there on some videos where I'm able to make maybe $100 or so a month. So yeah, it's not sustainable. My Ogan sent $10 in the super chat and says thank you so much. I really appreciate that. It really does mean a lot to me. And again, I came down here because people are more independent, they don't panic as much, and people don't listen to the government. Almost everyone here is an anarchist and a conspiracy theorist as well, interestingly enough. Almost everyone I talk to thinks that this is all just a big plan by the establishment to enslave the world. Almost everybody. So that is one of the main reasons I came down here. But now, as a Canadian, I'm not allowed in the United States. I'm not allowed to get back to my home. I'm not allowed to get back to my vehicle. And I'm trying to get rid of my house in Las Vegas, and they're trying to make me pay rent on it when I was supposed to have given it to someone else at this point. I had a sublet ready, and then something switched, and then the other guy came in, and it was just a nightmare. So I've just been dealing with this nonstop, and it has not worked out well for me. But nonetheless, I think I made the right decision by far. I want to bring up an article here on the screen, assuming that I'm still going to be able to stream for the next couple minutes anyway, before this shuts down. Again, we lost 200 viewers there, so that wasn't the best situation. But something that not a lot of people are talking about. All while in Virginia, they're saying 1 year in prison, possibly for walking outside without an excuse, which in Spain, they're still beating up people in the streets for. And in Maryland, they're saying similar things. In Virginia, they are pushing forward gun legislation, and no one's allowed to do anything about it. It's illegal to protest. And at the same time, federally, what's going on? It's just switching my face back and forth here. It's not letting me. Am I seeing this right? It shows my face bouncing back and forth. That is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Okay, well, I guess I have to turn this around here. That's weird. Anyway, this is H.R. 5717, Gun Violence Prevention and Community Safety Act of 2020. And it was pushed forward by Hank Johnson. And obviously, Hank Johnson, or Henry Johnson, is the same guy who was worried about, I think it was Guam sinking. Very high IQ guy. He's gotten more things done, though, than almost any other congressman, which says a lot about government. It's like idiocracy, but also... Can you hear me? Can you see me? What's going on? Am I still here? We lost another 80 people. Oh, my God. Anyway, that gun bill is putting a 30% tax on ammunition and another 50% tax on guns. And on top of it, we're talking about the very real possibility of you not even being able to touch a gun without a license, without taking a training course. But in order to take a training course, you need to touch a gun. So it goes against that. There's a loophole there. It's absolutely insane. And it's going to basically attempt to ban people from owning guns. I'd like to see them try. Honestly, it's never been more easier to build a gun in your garage, but still, it's crazy how ballsy they're really getting right now. Big shout out to Crypto Crackhead, who sent another £5 in the super chat. Thank you so much. I really, truly appreciate the pledges and the support here. It means a lot to me. Grant Rennie sent £1 and 49 cents. Thank you so much. Put a hot dog on there. Thank you. And that, honestly, that does pay for dinner here in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. So again, thank you so much. I don't know why it keeps shutting down. It has something to do with the data. I got a plan, and then they just completely went against their contract and keep shutting down my data every couple minutes and trying to make me pay like an insane amount of money to keep a stream back up. They've made me pay $40 so far in this stream alone, 35 minutes of streaming to do this stream. So thank you so much for the super chats. It really does mean a lot to me, and it helps keep it possible for me to stay alive. It really does. If you haven't already, check out our interview from yesterday with Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai, 4 degrees from MIT and the inventor of email. I really recommend everyone I really recommend everyone go and check out that interview. It's posted on our channel. Go to our video stream because YouTube restricted our videos, our most recent videos, from showing up on our channel page. Go figure. We're being attacked by every angle. If you haven't already, hit that like button on this video. Check the links below. Check out our new newsletter at www.iamband.com. You can subscribe to our other YouTube channels, Whamcast, WAM space cast, as well as Josh Sigurdson on YouTube, all channels that you should all subscribe to, because we need to back this up any way we can. And we, of course, are on float.app, flote.app. Join us there, where we can keep posting, and you could pledge in crypto and all sorts of stuff to stay alive. There's also links below for you to pledge and donate and tip in crypto. So anything helps, guys. I hate asking for this stuff, but they put me in a position where I have to. I can't even keep this operation up and running anymore. It's almost impossible, like literally almost impossible. I'm in debt for so much money because they cut almost all the monetization out. They shadow banned me, so I'm only reaching 10% of the people I usually reach, and it's actually going even below that. And they still put ads on my videos, so everyone thinks I'm monetized, but YouTube's taking all the money. So anyway, Grim Investor says, Josh, you are Zach McCracken in True Fresh and Blood. Thank you. True Flesh and Blood. Thank you for fighting the mind Babders. I read that way wrong at first, but thank you so much. I don't know who that is, but I appreciate the compliment as always. Zoki Zaki put a light bulb. All right. Ben Savage says, "Can we still get to Mexico? My passport expired." Well, if your passport expired, I'm not going to tell you how to do it, but there are ways. But I'm not going to recommend it. Soren Gergi says, "Liked and subscribed." Thank you so much for subscribing if you haven't already and hitting that like button. Oh, what a crazy world we live in. Again, I tried to do a report here live because the news changes too fast to record them and put them up, and my technology is lacking right now to properly do a high quality report. So I apologize for all these live videos lately, but it allows me to reach out to you as well, which is even better in a lot of ways. But yeah, I prefer my quality to be higher like it usually is, but I literally can't. My laptop crashed in December and I can't afford a new one because I've been shut down as far as money goes, and you know, that's the way it is when you try to tell the truth. It's not something that you make money doing. But nonetheless, I really appreciate anything that people can do to keep me up and running. We also have a Teespring store if you want t-shirts and stuff like that. I think they're still up and running, so you can get your Wham merchandise there, also linked below, and all that kind of craziness. Hey, again, make sure to check out our interview with Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai that we did yesterday, and our recent report, which was more of a high-quality report on the Chinese global COVID takedown or takeover. I really recommend everyone check that out. I think it's important. Grant Rennie sent £1.49 in the super chat. Thank you so much. Again, really goes a long way. It really does. Thank you so much. Sierra Legacy Avia sent $20 in the super chat. Wow, thank you. You are awesome. You are awesome people, and I'm just so grateful to have so many amazing viewers. I never thought it would happen. I never thought it would be possible. Grant Rennie says, "Find a Wi-Fi if you can." Yeah. So in 5 days, I'm moving into a different Airbnb because right now Airbnb is insanely cheap on a monthly basis. They cut it down like 90%. So I'm going to be moving into an Airbnb with really good Wi-Fi. Allegedly, it shows in the pictures, really high Wi-Fi upload and download speed. So hopefully that works. Right now I'm in a building where I think there's like programmers in here because the internet shouldn't be this bad, but it's just absolutely terrible. So I'm stuck using data, which is costing me money. So anyway, I really appreciate the help and the support, guys. It does mean a lot, and I am talking right now with a few restaurants that are closed to see if I can utilize their restaurant space for doing videos. And yeah, they are trying to utilize bad internet to push 5G agendas and stuff. 5G does not spread coronavirus, guys, but it does cause your immune system to lack in its abilities. But there's also a lot more to it. And obviously, John Snyson here at WHAM works in telecom and did lots of videos with us on Wi-Fi as well, or 5G as well, which everyone should check out. It's not cut and paste. There's a lot of nonsense about it out there, but there's a lot of realities too. Ogun says ID 2020, Agenda 2030. Yeah, well, that's interesting because Reddit, or what? No, it wasn't Reddit. It was Change.org took down the petition to stop ID 2020, which had an insane amount of signatures. So tells you all you need to know about that. And they don't need chips. They just use facial recognition, social credit scores, your eye, your retina, and your ID number. Anyway, Vishnu Nath says they're going to use the cops against us, Josh. Of course, and they always have, and that's what they do 24/7. 365 days a year they use cops against you. That's the only way they implement things, because most of their rules are based on fear. It's not on actual force. It's just a threat of force, and then people bow down. The only force you really see out there is really just the police. If you haven't been watching me on Facebook lately, I've been doing Facebook Lives where I walk around Puerto Vallarta at night and take down tape and cause problems. Mostly because they tape off like a beach, and it's just so stupid. And people are like, what do I do? There's a woman in a wheelchair trying to get across a bridge to her home, and there's tape in the way, and like for 10 minutes people are scratching their heads going, what do we do about this? And I walked by and I just ripped the tape down. I said, this is stupid. Some old lady yelled at me and she's like, that was there for a reason. And I'm like, yeah, and I ripped it down for a reason too. There's reasons everywhere. Imagine that. It's ridiculous how brainwashed and ridiculous some people are, but nonetheless, Stay vigilant, don't obey, and be the change you wish to see in the world, guys, as always. Anyway, hit that like button if you haven't already. Check those links below. Share on social media so we aren't a shadow banned. And I really appreciate everyone joining us today. Make sure to check out our recent interview with Dr. Shiva Ayaduri. I really appreciate any support you guys can give. We need to get that video out there because this is a guy with 4 degrees from MIT, the inventor of email, and has such an incredible background story. So everyone needs to get that video out there. I really appreciate it if you share it on social media. It goes a long way as far as getting people's awareness on this matter because most people don't have any idea. They're just like, oh, Fauci, he was great to, gay people in the 80s by admitting HIV was a real thing. It was a real epidemic. And it's like, yeah, Fauci was allegedly this great figure, but there's a lot more to the story. There's a lot of lies involved. And honestly, people are just completely looking away from the lies because there's a propaganda story that's been delivered for years about him. And also, he's not an immunologist. Like, he isn't like, well, he might be talking to some people that are really good with the immune system, but they have an agenda. The government's agenda is always to have more control over you. It's never any different. It's always, the government always wants more control over you. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. That's how the government operates. Why would they possibly give you more freedom? They can't. They can only take it away. You give yourself freedom. And you endow that freedom. Luzzy0982 sent $9.99 in the super chat. Thank you so much. I really appreciate all you guys. You people are amazing. It means a great deal. Robert Neal says Fauci is a snake. I would say that that's one good way of, defining him. Betsy Mabry says, great interview with Dr. Shiva. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Hitting like on that video too is helpful. We need to get that video out. I think it's important. It could really wake up a lot of people. And if we have enough people awakened, then we might be in a good position to take back our individual freedoms as individuals outside of the state trying to push us into a situation that they themselves admit will kill more people and cause a global economic depression, which we're already in. This is the biggest economic depression in history. Everyone will be comparing any future depression or economic problems to this in the future. We're living history right now, and none of this is normal, and this isn't okay. And people have to every now and then just shake their head and think, wow, what is going on right now? This is insane. But nonetheless, we need to take that action. We need to share information. I think I was saying it's a little too late for education, but you know what? There's some people out there that might actually get so angry if they know the truth that they might actually do something for once. Nelio sent £4.99 in the super chat. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you for those super chats. They mean a lot, and they go a far way, and it's very successful. It's been a successful day for super chats, so thank you so much for that. Jethro Harmon sent Australian $7.99. Thank you so much to you, as well as always. The supporters here at WAM are literally the heartbeat of WAM. They're the ones that keep us alive. After they demonetized us, after they shadow banned us, after they kicked us off all these platforms, after they stopped us from being able to be seen, you guys are the ones that are keeping this operation alive and making it possible for us to wake the minds of the masses against this disgusting, tyrannical entity, this monster, this beast, this cartel we call government. So thank you very much for that. Hit that like button, share on social media, and again, I guess I'll talk to you very soon. CC Mackey said just gave you $25. Thank you so much to you as well. Thank you. All of you guys are awesome. I don't know how, I'm really bad at thanking people, by the way. And I'm also very bad at taking compliments. Those are two things that are some of my biggest issues. And I do want you guys to know that I appreciate it, though. It's the only thing keeping us up and running. And I always feel bad mentioning it so much because it just gets over the top talking about the money issue. And I hate doing it because I know most of you out there are struggling right now. And it's not a good time for any of us right now. Those of you that are helping out in that way are just seriously heroes. And on top of that, here's information, not for me, but everyone else. Everyone else that is getting this information that never heard about this information before. And Betsy Mabry says, thank you for being my voice. Well, and thank you for making my voice possible. Thank you. Anyway. Wait a sec. Bully Stick says, trust the plan. Just keep sitting on your ass and wait. Yeah, seriously. Don't trust the plan. Be the plan. Anyway, until next time, guys, I really appreciate all the support. Keep speaking, disobey, and until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.